Awesome. So anyway, what's important for you guys to understand is that we're never going to sell you anything at all. All we're going to do is help you through a process that we have a lot of experience with and make sure that you don't get taken advantage of. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Mhm.
That's all. So we want you to find the right house. We're not going to rush you. And so our mission statement is helping our clients. The Joe Oz Group is here to help our clients achieve their goals. And the reason why that's important is we're not trying to make a sale. We're not going to ever put our goals in front of yours. The current housing market. So today's market, right? So buyer's market versus seller market. So this deck that I'm showing you, this was created probably about, we were using this 30 days ago, right? So things are kind of changing. Like I said, we're moving into a buyer's market. So what that's going to mean for you guys is there's going to be a little bit more inventory. Negotiating is kind of, we're going back to negotiating, right? We didn't do that for a lot of times. When it's a seller's market, it's either are you paying asking price or are you going over, and are there multiple offers, right? So like when we move into a buyer's market, when I say we get back to negotiating, what that means is you might see a house on Friday and it might still be there on Tuesday. Like you might have some time to make a decision. And so like that's going to be Sam's job to advise you guys. So if we walk into a house, we'll know, like we can take the temperature. So we have a small real estate team. We do a lot of business in the area, obviously, but we also, the people that aren't on our real estate team that are also licensed realtors that do a lot of the business, we are in relationship with them as well. So we have the relationships to say like, hey Bob, I saw that house came on the market. Do you have any offers yet? What is that? Like we might take you to the house and be like, yo, if we look at this house, you guys like it, we need to be writing something at a little bit over asking or something like that. Or I might, and our job is we're very conservative with money, right? So I treat your money like it's my money, right? And it's fun for us to save you the most amount of money. So if we're really great at negotiating, so if we see an opportunity to beat somebody up on price, we're going to do that as well. Home loan pre-approval. I'm going to let Evan, jump into this when I'm done with this presentation. Being pre-approved is extremely important, especially when there's multiple offers and things like that. It just makes you, our job is to make you the best buyer possible. So when someone sees you as the best buyer possible, that's when you're going to be able to negotiate or get some money off. You want the seller to want you, and by having yourself pre-approved is a good way to make that happen. Buyer agency benefits, right? So now you guys are choosing to work with us as your buyer agent, correct? Now, so what that looks like is it says 100% of our clients choose a buyer agency. All that really means is at the end of this presentation, we're going to ask you if you're comfortable working with us. And you're coming off of a warm referral, so I'm sure it's fine. And all that means is the New Jersey Association of Realtors doesn't want us sending you spam. They don't want us soliciting you. So there's like a buyer agency form that we would electronically send to you guys. You guys would sign off on it. And that allows us to call you, send you listings, take you into houses, things like that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. And then also another thing that's important about the buyer agency benefits is basically when you hire us, the only way you hire, and you don't pay us, by the way, when you hire us, that just means that like we now have a fiduciary responsibility to you by law. So that means anything you tell us, we're not going to tell the other side. Like we 100% work for you. And a fiduciary responsibility means that we're held to the highest code of ethics. Okay. Now, also another thing, I just mentioned this, you guys don't pay us. I don't know if you know this or not, but like when it comes to closing costs, I'll talk about that. But, hopefully you become wildly successful real estate investors, and one day you will have to pay us. And that's when you list a house. So when someone lists a property, they hire a realtor to list that property. That's when real estate commissions are discussed. We do get paid for helping you, but you're not the one that pays us. The seller does. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then as far as closing costs goes, we'll get to that, but I can go over that as well. Very, very simple. A lot of realtors don't know what the closing costs are. Can't explain them. It's really easy stuff. We use the multiple listing service. So at the end, we're going to ask you your criteria. And what the thing to know about the multiple listing service is the multiple listing service, it syndicates to Zillow, right? It syndicates to Trulia, Realtor.com, whatever. I do believe, it doesn't matter what I believe, the consumer believes that the best resource for searching for homes is Zillow, right? That's what we hear from most people, right? Zillow just sent me a push notification for a neighborhood I was looking for a house in. So like, and so the MLS is just all the MLS is, it's It's the database where the realtors keep our inventory, right? And we share it with each other. And that syndicates to Zillow, which syndicates to everywhere else, right?
Okay.
With that being said, we're gonna add you to our MLS, and we're gonna send you updates the same way you would get them from a third-party system. The reason why that's important is I've seen us upload a house that, you know, you can get it that minute, right? But it might not get to Zillow till midnight, or I've seen it go as far as 48 hours later. So we're gonna send you. Sam's gonna set you up with a search. He's gonna initially send you a bulk list, right? And then a bulk list is like casting a wide net, right? And you're gonna give him feedback and be like, actually, we don't really want a pool, so you can remove that, and it's gonna make these lists smaller. And then every time a property that it meets your criteria, you can either have it sent to you once a day, so it pops in at midnight, or you can get it right away. If your criteria is slim, you probably want it right away. If you're looking at a lot of different towns and you're open to a lot of things, you might want that list once a day. For sale by owners, cool. So this is important to know. Every once in a while, for sale by owner, you'll see a for sale by owner. You'll see a sign on the ground on Zillow. They're called "Make Me Sell," something like that. "Make me sell" or whatever.
Make me move.
Make me move. Thank you. So what will happen is for sale by owners will work with the realtor. Like, they'll pay us. Does that make sense? And so what happens is if you contact them directly, so in New Jersey, there's something called procuring cause. And what that means is if you walk through that house without us, you can't use a realtor. So now that you know that you don't pay for our real estate fees and someone else does, we found that our buyers don't know that, and buyers do want to be represented. You know, our team sold over 600 houses, you know, like, we have the experience, you know, like, you want to be like, we help you negotiate home inspection issues. We're there for the appraisal. We help you through attorney review, all this stuff, right? Like oil tank sweeps, all this stuff. So, and I kind of relate it to a for sale by owner would be like, I don't know, man, if you've ever bought something you didn't know anything about and you're just talking face to face with a salesman that really wants, like, a car. Like, I don't really know much about cars or whatever, but like, I just remember not feeling comfortable. And but I remember one time my cousin, who knows a lot about cars, he came with me, and that was just made me feel a lot better. And it's kind of the same relationship. So if you see a for sale by owner, send us the link online. If you drive past it, take a picture of it and get a picture of the street address, send it to us, and we will reach out and we will make the initial introduction, and you'll be protected.
Gotcha.
Same goes with new home builders. You might see like like Toll Brothers, or you see like a new home build. If you go into a new home sales office the first time without your buyer representation, you cannot work with us. And a new home builder, so if there's a new home builder building like 50 new homes, and you see the balloons on a Saturday and you're driving by and they're giving out hamburgers and hot dogs, if you go there and sign in, we can't represent you. And what happens is on these new home sales, we might know that Mary got a free $8,000 credit for her kitchen because of whatever. Like, we know about the premium lots and things like that. So we just have the experience to give you the advantage. But if you go to a for sale by owner or a new home builder without us, we can't represent you. Evan's going to talk about down payments and things like that. Inspection, right? So the process kind of goes like this. You're going to go look at houses. That's like the fun part, right? Like, you're going to go look at houses, and that's really like the fun, goofy kind of part, And then once you find a house that you're really, really interested in, or maybe you find two, what Sam's going to do is he's going to go back to the office. He's going to pull all the comparables. He's going to look at the price. He's going to tell you, he's going to do what an appraiser would do. He's going to pull all the active, under contract, and sold units within the last 12 months. He's going to bring it back to you guys and say, well, based on what I've seen, this is what I think the house is worth. And then he's also going to tell you what he thinks you should offer for the house. And again, that's just information he's supplying to you. You're the boss. We work for you. You make the decisions. So again, we're just providing information. Once that happens, we're going to have once the offer is accepted. By the way, we do everything electronically. We electronically sign things. Any paperwork you sign from us is going to be issued by the New Jersey Association of Realtors, right? We didn't make it. It's not specific to Joe Oz, our company EXP, anything like that. It's issued by the banking department for the New Jersey Department of Real Estate, right? All boilerplate, things like that. The first offer that we make is in writing. The rest of the negotiations are all verbal, right? So we just go back and forth. They're like, you might have seen like HGTV, like we're going back and do we want to go up another $5,000? All right, I'll call him back. Like that's kind of actually what happens on the backside. And now, so with all that being said, once you have an offer that is accepted, then we enter into attorney review. We're in an attorney state. So New Jersey doesn't trust two realtors, a buyer and two realtors to like write a contract. So they want an attorney to review it. Fine, fair. I don't care. So we have a really awesome real estate attorney that we can recommend to you guys. I think probably the same one Nick used. And then what will happen is they'll take you through attorney review. What they're going to do is they're going to review the contract, right? They're going to make any changes, things like that. They're just basically going to say like, do you understand what you signed? Okay. And it's not a legal binding contract until it comes out of attorney review. Then once happens, you're going to schedule your inspections, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to come out of attorney review. Sam's going to be notified, and then he's going to call you up and say, hey, it's time to schedule inspections. By the way, you guys have to order the inspection. We can't order it for you. You have to prepay for it. And Sam will give you a couple recommendations, right? So there's a few that we use that we trust.
Yep.
And by the way, we want the inspector, if this isn't the house you should be buying, or if there's something wrong with it, we want the inspector to find that, and we want the inspector to tell us. Does that make sense? We want you to find the right house. So like, you're like, well, what if there's something wrong? Well, then we're not buying the house. We'll go find another one. You know, like I've seen like, I can tell you the stories. I'm sure Sam can too. You know, like one of the houses I was buying just had like, I don't know, had mold, and I had to make a decision. I wound up buying it because I got it for a great deal, but like I had to understand it's going to cost me $10,000 on top of what I'm paying for the house just to remediate this mold in a crawl space the minute I move in, or I put a tenant in there, or whatever that looks like, right?
Right.
So, and that stuff's negotiable, right? So if you say like, hot water heater doesn't work, that's $1,200. Can I get a new hot water heater? We can negotiate that stuff, right? Now, another thing that's important to understand is people ask like how you can back out. Like if I write a contract, am I buyers are protected in New Jersey. You can back out of almost any deal, right? And plenty of realtors will be like, you can't, because they're just trying to make a sale and they're worrying about their goals, not your goals. If you do the home inspection, you don't want the house, we're going to get you out of it, right? So basically, to tell you the truth, I'll always tell you the truth, but like realtors say it a lot of different ways. But like if you do your home inspection, there's a home inspection contingency period. If you're not happy with the results, we can go buy another house. Does that make sense? And you don't lose a deposit, you don't lose anything.
Okay.
And this is the stuff that like realtors don't talk about. I don't know if they understand it, or they're just trying to like get you to buy a house as fast as you can. But like, we want you to have the right house. Appraisal, that's easy. So you need to be at your home inspection, 100%. Anyone you trust, mom, dad, cousin, Bob, my buddy Bob's a builder, whatever. Be at your inspection, please. Sam will be there. Everyone, just be at your inspection. Yep. Our home inspectors will like welcome you to walk around with them and explain things to you, and that's what you want. And then once it's done, you're gonna get like this by the way, you're gonna get this very overwhelming report back. It might be like 60 pages. Again, that's what you want. You're buying a house. You're gonna pay this person between $400 and $600, and then in that report should be like action items and consideration items. An action item is like, yo, we need to do this right now. A consideration item is like, well, the hot water heater is like 7 years old. You might need to replace it in 5 years. Just an FYI. Appraisal. The good news is you'll never overpay for a house. So Evan Beach's company, Equity Prime, they don't trust, the mortgage company doesn't trust two realtors, a buyer and a seller, to establish value. So what they're going to do is they're going to protect their best interests by sending a third-party appraiser out there to appraise the property. So they're going to go out there. You're going to pay for that. It's cost like around probably somewhere between $500-$600. The best part is you're not going to overpay. So if a house underappraises, we renegotiate the purchase price. If it overappraises, we don't tell the seller and we close on the house. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Evan's going to talk about loan approvals, things like that. Settlement. Then basically that's kind of it, man. Like once you do your home inspection, you do your appraisal, the seller will be responsible, depending on what town you buy in, they'll be responsible for going to the town and obtaining a certificate of occupancy. So before it closes, the township will make sure they do a walkthrough, make sure that the house is livable and up to code for the township. Let's see here. We have a full real estate team. So what that looks like is everyone on our team operates as a specialist. So Sam Marks is a buyer specialist, right? We have a listing agent named Gil. He is our listing specialist. We have a transaction coordinator. Her name's Amanda. You guys will wind up working with her. She handles all the paperwork. So we're just like a very well-oiled machine. Customer service is our number one priority. And we sell a lot of houses. And the way that we could sell a lot of houses without compromising customer service is by having a team. And we talked about how do I get paid? These are the seller. And these are kind of all the things that we do, right? Coordinate closing, call the assessors, list homes, add calls. These are all the things that we do. Inspections, so it's why it's very important to have a team. If you have one realtor who's like selling 10 houses, like things fall through the cracks, right? Our goal is to get you the best price, fewest amount of hassles, have you buy your house in your desired time frame. By the way, referrals, who do you know? And by the way, when you hear people that need to buy or sell houses, you absolutely have to tell Sam. We will help them as well. That's it, man. So any questions about this part of the presentation?
I don't think so.
No, I think you explained everything pretty thoroughly, and
cool.
I mean,
and we're not going anywhere. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Like I said, I run the team. Sam's gonna be your guy, but I'm always, you guys, you know, we're always here. So Sam and we work every day on Zoom. So what I'll do now is, I'm gonna have Evan jump in, go over some mortgage stuff, and then we just have to get your criteria. What's your timeline look like, or what's your goal?
Well, our lease is up in July, but we don't want to rush with anything. So
Smart.
I mean, if we have to renew for a few more months, we have to renew for a few more months. It is what it is.
Yeah, probably like early next year, early 21 or summer 21.
Perfect.
Latest, I'd say. Yeah.
Awesome. And you guys want to get information gathering right now, correct?
What was that? I'm sorry.
And you want to start information gathering right now, is that correct?
Oh yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Perfect, man. Awesome. And then I'm just gonna do this right now. What areas do you guys want to be in?
So right now we're looking in like Toms River, Brick,
Howell,
and around here in Neptune, Tin Falls area.
Cool. And what do you have an idea of what price range you guys want to be in? That's also something that Evan's going to help with as well. Like, he'll dive in with you guys like when you guys are on a private call, I'm sure.
So I guess right now our sweet spot is what, 400,000?
I think that's like probably our max.
Yeah, like close. That's like close to our max is like 400,000.
You know what's a cool thing that I ask? I always say, like, okay, if you were on Zillow, what's the range you would put in to search for homes? Like, what's the price range?
So
I've been doing like, I didn't put in a minimum, but the max I put in is 400,000. So
perfect. I love that. And then what's important to you guys? Do you want a single family home, townhouse?
Single family home.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything that's like that you gotta have? Do you have to have like a 3-car garage? Do you have to have a pool? Do you have to have anything that's super, super, super important?
I mean, personally, I would like an updated kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been looking into like a finished basement also.
Is that a deal killer, or is that like it's nice if we have it?
It's nice if we have it. We would like to use. We would like to have another room if we can't have the basement. So, I think our range is like 3 to 4 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Minimum 3 bed. That's great. All right. Cool. Awesome. I'll have That's really awesome. I'll have Evan jump in now. Evan, you want to talk about mortgages? What's important right now for?
Sure. Absolutely. How you guys doing? So just a little bit about what I do and my company. Basically, the way that we operate, and I call myself a mortgage professional, not actually what is on my business card, which is mortgage loan originator, because we come from the standpoint of, you know, when your car breaks down, you're going to go to a mechanic. It's tax season, although tax season has now been 6 months long, it seems like. When it's tax season, you go to an accountant to do your taxes. You know, you need your haircut, you go to a barber. That's my barber joke, guys. Get it? I'll be here all week. So
you will.
Gotta get it shaved. I mean,
but when somebody needs a mortgage, what do? They start poking around online, which is a terrifying place to start because There's
Yeah.
a lot of disinformation and a lot of confusing things that are out there. So that is what we do. This is the world I live in, just strictly mortgages. We're a mortgage bank. We are not a depository institution, so we don't have checking, savings, CDs, 401ks, things like that. All we do is mortgage home financing and residential home financing. We don't really deal much in commercial, just some mixed-use properties, but for the most part, residential financing. So myself, I've been in the business for a long period of time now, since around 2003, 2004. So I've seen now two giant economic turns come and go with 2008, 2009, and now obviously what we're in right now. Big difference is that 2008, 2009 was 100% the, not me personally, but the mortgage industry's fault from bad appraisals, people getting lent money that shouldn't have got lent money, so on and so forth. What we're in right now is not really anybody's fault. You know, in my opinion, the government's handled it terribly, but we'll leave that to the side. So it's a little bit of a different feel right now that we're in. As far as, you know, mortgages, and I'm going to pull this up because I know Joe kind of went through and hit some bullet points, but I want to pull this piece up that we have, and it's basically the home buying process. Joe, I think you have to allow me to share, it looks like. Or you have to back out. There you go. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, can you guys see this? Understanding the home buying process?
Yep.
Cool. So this is just a piece that I actually wrote and I put together from my experience of going through this thousands of times. So the first step, and the reason I show this, first step should always be initial buyer consultations, obviously what Joe and Sam are doing with you right now. And the first step should always be getting the mortgage pre-approval for a multitude of reasons. Really, you want to figure out not only what you can afford, but what you want to afford. And what I mean by that is we could go through everything and I could come back to you guys and say, hey, Teresa, Rick, you're pre-approved. You can go buy $1 million home. Chances are you're probably not going to like that $1 million home payment. So we want to whittle it down and get, you know, specific as far as a couple different parameters. You know, what you want your monthly payment to be, what you want your cash to close to be, what you want your down payment to be, all that kind of good stuff. You want to figure that out up front, because I can't tell you the amount of times that people have gone out and started to look at homes and fall in love with a property and then figure out a way to justify how they can afford it or stress on why they can't afford it and so on and so forth. So should always be the first step. What we do is a fully underwritten pre-approval, and this is kind of where we set ourselves apart from a lot of other mortgage lenders that are out there. We do a fully upfront, fully underwritten pre-approval. If you go to any of your local bank where you do your checking savings and say, hey, I want to apply for a mortgage, they're most likely going to say, okay, here's an application, fill this out. They may look at a credit report. They may look at a pay stub. They're going to do a quick pre-qualification. They're not going to go and underwrite the file. The problem with that is what happens is that the issues always arise during underwriting. And typically, a lot of mortgage lenders are going to do the underwriting once you get under contract. Problem with that is, as Joe mentioned, once you get under contract and you're out of attorney review, you're going to start spending money on things. You're going to spend money on a home inspection, which is typically around $500. And then you're going to spend money on the home appraisal, which is, again, around $500. So the last thing we want to do is get you spending money and have you spend $1,000 out of pocket and then have me come back to you and say, hey, guys, sorry, we missed something. We can't do the mortgage for you. So that's why we do this fully underwritten up front.
Okay.
Now it's more, it's more time consuming. It's more manpower. It's more time, money on our end. But being that this is all we do is mortgages, and we have referral partners like Joe and his team, and a lot of other realtors that we work with, we're able to do this because we don't spend money on advertising. We're a referral-based business model, and we're very good at what we do. So it's very important. And how we go about doing that is it's a two-step process. Basically, the first step would be just getting an application in. And again, I can go through this with you guys separately as well. But we would get an application in, and then we would have the application documented. And the documentation portion would be things that you would think we would need, pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, potentially a few other things depending upon how you guys show income. Once we do that, then we're able to put it through our underwriting system, again, up front, and typically they get back to me within a day or two. So once that happens, you're going to have a very clear picture of, what type of loan program you're going to potentially qualify for, what type of money down makes sense for you, and obviously very important, one of the more important parts is what purchase price you want to look at. So that's stuff that we will certainly all go through once we have the pre-approval finished up. And again, Joe hit on this. Once you get out of the pre-approval process with us, then, as Joe mentioned, then the fun starts with home shopping. Work closely with Sam, Joe. The good thing is too, once you have the pre-approval finished up, you can send me some listings and I can work up some accurate numbers for each and every listing you're going to. So it could be, 123 ABC Street. Send me that listing, or just send me the address. I can pull up the listing. Then I can get accurate as far as what the property taxes are on that particular address, and really whittle it down to what that property is going to cost you per month. And also, I can give you the two big factors is always going to be what your monthly payment is, and then what your down payment and potential closing costs would be for that property. So even before you set foot and Sam takes you out there, you can have a very clear picture of what it's going to cost to purchase that property. So it's a lot easier way to do it than walking through the place and getting excited about it, and then thinking, well, we love it, but where do we go from here? You're going to have a very, very educated idea as far as what it's going to cost you theoretically before you even go and check it out.
Okay.
And again, I know Joe hit on this, but making an offer, if you are going to put in an offer on a property, you will need a pre-approval letter from me. That's tailored to the number that you're going to offer. Typically we don't send just blanket pre-approval letters. I'm not going to say, yeah, Teresa and Rick are good till up to 500,000, because you may be putting in an offer for 375 on a place, and we don't want to tip your hand to what you're technically pre-approved for. So we want to tailor it and have it really honed into the offer that you're making. Another big thing, and I know Joe mentioned where we could be potentially shifting into a buyer's market, but there are still a lot of bidding wars going on in the areas that you're looking in Neptune, Brick, Tom's River. I do a ton of business in those areas, and there still is quite a bit of bidding wars going on. So what will happen is, if it does come to the point of all things being equal with yourself and another potential buyer, the seller is then going to look at the contingencies of the two different offers and figure out, okay, are there any contingencies? Do you guys have to sell a home? How is the pre-approval? And then that's where I would step in, and I can even get in contact with the seller's agent and say, Teresa and Rick are good to go. We have it fully underwritten. Here's where we've been. It's rock solid. It's as good as cash offer. And I can't tell you the amount of times that that's won a bid for clients. It goes a really long way. So again, very important as far as getting the pre-approval. And I know Joe hit on this too. Once you have an offer accepted, you go into attorney review. Attorney review typically lasts anywhere from 2 days to 10 days, 2 weeks. It really just depends on the intricacies of the contract. The idea is you want to get in and out of attorney review as soon as possible, because you're technically not under contract until you're out of attorney review. So we really want to get you in and out of attorney review as soon as possible. Once you are technically under contract, then we would be sending you the application for the specific mortgage for that property. Because what we're going to do initially up front is just kind of a blanket pre-approval. So we're going to need to hone it into the property that you're purchasing. And then obviously as we move along here, rate locks. And again, I'm not going to dive too deeply into interest rates and rate locks, just because we could be here for another 45 minutes and I don't think anybody wants that. I can certainly get into that with you guys on the side. And again, home inspections done once you're technically under contract. Joe hit on this already. Home inspections, and then once we typically wait to order the appraisal until your home inspection contingency is completed. So we want to make sure, like Joe mentioned, we want to make sure that you are moving forward with the transaction, and make sure there's no issues with the home inspection before we're going to go and have you spend money on an appraisal. Because obviously, as Joe mentioned too, we're not in the business of selling home inspections and selling appraisals. That doesn't matter to us. Our goal is to get you to the closing table as smoothly as possible and in the quickest fashion as possible, and have it be an exciting and nice experience for you guys. That is our job and our goal. So once your appraisal has been done, then it's just us processing the mortgage. It would be updating documentation because, again, as you mentioned, you might not be looking until the beginning of next year. So obviously, we're going to need to update documentation as we move along here. And also in processing, tax and title work get ordered, our commitment letters done, homeowners insurance gets bound, all these things that we do kind of behind the curtain, we take care of. You don't need to worry about. We'll take care of all this stuff in the processing. And then basically the closing is just, getting a CD sent out to you 3 days prior to closing. And again, closing typically normally takes place attorney title person's office, and you get the keys. So I'll send you this as well. I can email it to you guys once I have all that info. So you can hold on to this and just use it as kind of a Cliff Notes kind of cheat sheet as far as where you're at. It's just something I've written, and I think it's very helpful, especially if you haven't been through this before. It kind of gives you a way to wrap your head around it. So, so that's kind of the bullet points, and I can have a separate conversation with you guys and let you know how we'll handle a specific pre-approval. But any questions for me as far as anything mortgage related or anything at all on the sheet here?
What would you say are the biggest factors that would negatively affect like a mortgage, like going through approval and things like that?
Well, the ways that we would approve a mortgage or deny a mortgage would be 3 factors. It would be income, equity, and credit. Those are the 3 things we would look at. So first being income, and income, it sounds like, yeah, it's income. What do you make? How much money do you make? How do you make the money? What's the likelihood of the employment to continue? Those are kind of the factors that we're going to look at with income. The equity portion basically is how much money are you putting down on the property? Also, once you put that money down, how much do you have in assets and reserves behind it? So that would be the equity portion of it. And then as far as the credit goes, credit would be obviously what your credit scores are. Mortgages and lending in general are all very risk-based. It's all risk, hey, what is your risk level? Are you able to afford this money that we're going to lend you to pay it back? So the credit portion is obviously your credit scores, but also what's on your credit report, which is going to then affect your debt to income portion with your income. So if you have no debts whatsoever and the only debt we're going to be counting would be the new mortgage payment, then that's great. But typically people have some debts, maybe a car payment or some student loans or credit cards or things like that would be on your credit report. That gets counted into the debt to income ratio. So those are typically the 3 kind of, I call them the pillars of pre-approval, if you will, that we would look at. So, again, the idea is we want to sift through this up front and paint the best picture to send to an underwriter as far as, we're on your side. We're trying to get this done for you. And again, we're very good at what we do. So if there is any issues, we can certainly deal with them up front prior to getting excited about putting in offers on properties. So that's kind of how we would look at it. So that would be it.
Okay. And I just wanted to jump in. Joe obviously said we're all members of the team here. When Joseph's on the buyer's agent, I just want to make sure it's totally clear. Like, you get still full access to the whole team. This will be the face that you see at the houses. I'll be meeting you there. You'll hear enough of my voice. That's why I've been quiet for about 40 minutes now. You'll hear enough of it. You'll see my emails come through all the time. So it'll be my name and my voice and my face, and it'll be us going from place to place. And I'll sort of be your main point of contact as far as what do you know about this place? We're interested in this place. this is in a neighborhood we don't know so well. What do you know? So those like day-to-day text message type questions, that's me, and then that's what I do. I'm happy to help out.
Cool. Thanks, dude.
And to hit on a quick point too, and Joe's 100% right when he mentioned working with a team that knows what they're doing. And oddly enough, Joe and I were just having a conversation a half hour ago about a prior client that had an awful experience with buying a house because the mortgage guy didn't know what they were doing. So it's very important that you have a team put together like Joe, Sam, myself, the attorney, title company, home inspector, that know what they're doing, or else it can, one of those pieces are not doing their job properly, it can be not so much of a fun experience. So you guys certainly hit the lottery having everybody involved here that's involved.
Thanks, Evan. Thanks, Sam. Hey guys, I think Teresa and Rick, our manager is going to call you guys and ask you how we did. Can you put in a good word for us?
Yeah, of course. This was great.
It was very helpful.
We're just teasing. No, any other questions? So what's going to happen now is Sam's going to set up a search for you guys, send it your way, follow up with you. Evan's going to follow up with you. And I feel like at this point we've established a relationship. Are you guys comfortable working with us? We'll send you the buyer. Just you have to sign off on just agreeing that we can call you and contact you and that we're working with you. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll send that to, I'll send that to,
I was going to ask if you got contact already.
yeah, I have it. So I need to send it to two
Okay.
different email addresses. I think I have one. What's the other one?
The one used for this was our joint one. So that was the RT Marcelino. Is that the one you have?
Yeah, I'll just use that. That's fine. I'll just
Okay.
use that and I'll just put one of your names on it. You guys can sign off.
Yeah, and the other one's the TA Rob one.
Cool. And that doesn't obligate you to anything. It just allows us to, like, again, New Jersey Association of Realtors doesn't want us spamming you and following up with you and soliciting to you and all those things. You're allowing us to be like, yeah, these guys are our buyers.
Okay.
We're going to work with them. Cool. Any other questions before we sign off?
I don't think
No,
so.
and not right now.
Sure,
Yeah.
more will come up.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very nice
Good to
meeting
work with you guys.
Hey,
Yes.
Joe, real quick, can you send me just like kind of a group email so I can get all the contact info, and I'll reach out to you guys separately so I can get the pre-approval going for you.
100%.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
All right. Bye, guys. Talk soon.
Bye, guys.